We have multiple Cleveland Cavaliers updates as new insights have been revealed on a lot of guys that have been dealing with injuries for this Cavs team, including Caris LeVert, Dean Wade, as well as Max Strus. And that leads us to some major changes incoming to this Cleveland Cavaliers team, as with guys getting reintegrated into the lineups that are going to eat up significant minutes, there's a large contingent of this Cleveland Cavaliers fan base that are worried that these shakeups might affect the winning ways, the W's that have been rolling in for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and we'll break down the reality of what's happening right now with all these returns to the lineup. So lots of stuff to break down in this video, but before we do, folks, again, if you guys are a part of the over 90% of our viewers that haven't hit the subscribe button just yet, and you want that daily Cleveland Cavaliers coverage, you're enjoying the content that's coming out here on Cavs Digest, you're tuning into the news and you want those updates, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing that's going on with this Cleveland Cavaliers team. You join the community we're building, because again, this has been a very, very fun season for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and frankly, I want you to enjoy the ride. I want you to be along on the ride with us. So lots of stuff to break down, but let's dive into the news. And basically, the first thing we're taking a look at is multiple Cleveland Cavaliers updates, specifically on the injury front. Now, again, this team, the secret sauce to this team's success over the course of the season has certainly been, there's multiple factors, but definitely the depth on this squad, what Kenny Atkinson has been able to bring out of different guys out there on this roster. It's been something to witness. It's been something to get excited about, something to get amped up about, and even with injuries that this Cavs team has sustained, it hasn't really knocked this train off course in terms of how good the Cavs have been over the course of the season. So again, that's something that's been a positive, but we have some updates in terms of some of the guys that have been out of the lineup and how, what the expected timelines are on them. So the first players we'll take a look at, as the Cavs are to be without, for the fourth straight game, Caris LeVert as well as Dean Wade, and when they take on the Atlanta Hawks this evening. Now, again, this Caris LeVert injury, it's not something that was, branded or sold to us as being something that's major, but it is something that's a little bit more concerning, especially than Wade's injury, because, again, firstly, Caris LeVert has been phenomenal this season. I just want to indicate that because, again, there's been some people saying, hey, Caris LeVert, he's a guy that his points are down, his minutes are down, he's not going to have that impact. Well, if you look at the stats in terms of the efficiency that he's been able to score the basketball with this season, because 11 points per game, 4.5 assists, very effective out there on the court, but is shooting 46% from behind the three-point line. That's up 13% from what he was doing last season. Last season ended up shooting 32.5%. So again, very, very significant increase there for Caris LeVert. And then from the field, he is shooting 53% from the field, which is a jump from 42% last season. So regardless of how the points per game went down, the minutes were there, but he has been so much more efficient, so much more effective scoring the basketball. It's been a huge positive, but his knee injury that he's dealing with right now, it's knee injury management. It's something he dealt with at the end of last year's playoffs, which makes it concerning because it's not something that was solved and fixed. And we heard him talk about it over the course of the offseason, where he said a couple weeks into head of training camp, said, my knee finally feels better. Finally feels like it's at a place where I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressing about it and things like that. But it has been something that he's been dealing with over the course of the season. So concerning stuff there, but take the time you need. This Cavs team is deep. It's loaded. We want all hands on deck, ready to go come playoff time. So we don't want Caris LeVert to rush back and end up re-injuring the knee and then having to deal with some issues there on that front. But the more interesting guy, because he's been out for so long, because we imagine Caris LeVert will be back pretty soon, is Max Strus, as we have some insights in terms of what's going on with his whole situation, as Strus, who's expected to be the starting small forward for this team, has been sidelined since the preseason and is still weeks away from a return. Essentially, news has come out that at the time of his injury, one that happened during his individual workout on October 17th, as he was trying to come back from a previous hip issue, the Cavs said that Strus would be reevaluated in around 6 weeks, and that marker is just days away. But the timeline attached to his actual comeback is still being determined. So, Max Strus, that's not neither a positive nor a negative report. Again, 6 weeks wasn't the immediate return date. Nothing indicates that, a return is imminent. He's guaranteed going to be back on the lineup right away, for this Cavs squad. But nothing in that report, nothing in that update indicates, Strus is going to be out a while. He isn't progressing well. He's going to need surgery or anything like that. And that's how sometimes these reevaluations, especially with knee injuries and these types of things, reports end up going. So overall, a positive report for Strus there, and indicates that Again, a couple weeks away is pretty soon. That's very positive news to hear for this Cleveland Cavaliers team, and that leads us into the debate. The hot debate that's going on with this Cavs team right now is major changes incoming for this rotation, because obviously Max Strus is going to be a guy that's in the rotation. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's going to be a guy that's getting serious to run for this Cavs team, whether it's starting or off the bench. Starting off, because he was the starter for the team last season, and he fits very well in terms of what this Cavs team wants to do. But Chris Fedora ended up giving some insights and what the plan is for Max Strus returning to this team, as essentially, we'll break out the right quote. The Cavs coach Kenny Atkinson could find it easier to bring him off the bench until his minutes restriction is lifted and he can play that starter level minutes. And essentially, how the team is performing at the time, how effective is the starting lineup, what opponents are on the schedule, and what other players are available are all things, and are the three Strus fill-ins, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, as well as Sam Merrill, playing well enough to justify the remaining in the starting five. Essentially, went on to say that all those factors will play a part in what Atkinson ultimately decides in regards to Strus being in the starting lineup, but the Cavs are eager to see what Strus looks like in this up-tempo, three-point heavy, pass-heavy, movement-based system that suits his playing style. With his shooting, cutting, gravity, playmaking, and toughness, he provides a different element than any other small forward options that are currently out there on this Cleveland Cavaliers team. The Cavs need what he brings, and it's why they made him such a priority out there in free agency just a couple of summers ago. So again, it's not clearly defined, a surefire 100% reported thing that he will be in that starting lineup, but all signs, the undertones, the text of this indicate Max Strus will be back in the lineup in terms of being a starter once he's fully healthy. I mean, you look at his shooting splits. Again, this guy shoots 35% from the three-point line, is effective from all areas out there on the court. Weirdly enough, last season only shot 33% on corner threes. That's something I imagine will bounce back up even higher this year, given his historical career averages, over the course of his, with the Miami Heat, especially the Miami Heat playing days, shot 50% a couple seasons ago, 46% the season after that. So I'd imagine that number will continue to increase with this effective three-point shooting. But overall, Max Strus is a guy that I think fits perfectly in regards to what Kenny Atkinson is doing. And for all the people saying, hey, let's just not give him a ton of run, let's just keep rolling with Okoro. And I love Okoro. I think he's a great player, especially in the defensive end and stuff. But Strus, I think, brings that toughness, brings that grit, alongside, obviously, the three-point shooting, finishing ability, different stuff out there on the court to really be able to have an impact. His skill set unlocked even further for what Kenny Atkinson is able to provide. Because, again, I don't want to, pile on the J.B. Bickerstaff hate train that people have been sort of building up with how good Kenny Atkinson has been. But Strus, especially as a three-point shooter, was unlocked playing along, under a coach like Pat Riley, coach like Eric Spoelstra, and then Kenny Atkinson, I think, can get Strus back to those three-point shooting percentages. Not that they were bad this previous season, but really playing around this team, in these lineups, I think he's going to be very, very effective. So it's a major change, but not something I'm worried about whatsoever. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. You guys have a thing as far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.